We're super excited for you joining us, so thank you so much.
Of course.
Um, all right, so let's just give it a quick intro. My name's Kylan. This is Matt from Flashpoint, and this is Shannon from. Is it Willpower PT? Is that correct?
Yes. Yep.
Perfect. Awesome. Well, today we are talking about women in sports, specifically the PT kind of. I don't know if PT is. I don't think it is, so I'm not going to say that. But
What were you
I'm
gonna
going to
say?
say it might be more male dominated, but I don't think that's true right now.
No,
Yeah. So I don't think
definitely
that's
not.
true right now. But yeah, so Shannon, if you want to give yourself a quick introduction.
Yeah, great. So I think I'll just start by obviously this is your and Matt's podcast, and I feel like Matt and I we met because I was one of Matt's students in DC when I was during my clinical rotation. So I feel like just kind of starting this, like, these opportunities just come full circle, which I'm like super just honored to be on your guys' podcast and just be involved, and also be like another business owner along with Matt, and how you guys met. So I just feel like just starting in that way is just like super authentic, super organic. I have had my practice in Baltimore, Maryland for the past 5 years. It's called Willpower PT. My last name is Will. Um, felt like that was a decent name at the time. It's been going well. So yeah, so I think I worked at my first job was in DC after I met Matt, and that really opened up the doors to kind of the out of network practice model versus in network. I can kind of go into that later too, but it kind of got my mind thinking there's just different options to health insurance and to quality care versus kind of the run of the mill PT, even the run of the mill like sports PT too. So, and then, I from there went to another sports rehab place, had an awesome experience there. And then I actually was working out of a gym, working out one day, and the owner of the gym kind of approached me to open up a practice in her facility, and that was an awesome opportunity, an awesome experience. And then from there, the business has grown so authentically over time, and we just have a great community in Baltimore. My background specifically, obviously, I'm the owner. I have a certified strength and conditioning specialist, a sports performance specialist, a USAW weightlifting coach, and dry needling certified, pelvic health. I do pelvic floor through ICE, and I'm also a clinical athlete provider. So there's some different backgrounds there, and Pilates instructor too. So I kind of added all in over the years, but it's just a great
Love it all.
overall.
Yeah.
It's just fun. It's just fun to apply different things to different patients. So that's a little bit about me.
Awesome. Well, we're
Yeah,
super
and I'll
excited.
touch on. I mean, Shannon. I mean, gosh, we've known each other. It's like 8+ years now, right?
Yep.
Which is crazy. But we've. I remember back when she was shadowing with me, being my student, staying after to hang out with some knuckleheads named Jerry. Um, but yeah, I mean, so I guess Shannon, like for you, like, how did you want to get into the sports world? I mean, I remember those days back then, but what, like, just from a FEMA in sports, a lot of that, what made you want to go down that route?
I think in the beginning I was just I obviously, like, I feel like most people know about physical therapy just from like the clinics on different corners, or even just being in high school or college or whatever. So it was really cool to go to grad school and see that there's so many different types of physical therapy. As we know, Matt, you can work with burn victims or stroke or spinal cord, and there's so many different avenues. But I kept going back to the point where sports rehab honestly is really about the relationship. Obviously, I love sports, played sports growing up, and obviously that's exciting and cool per se, but I think the main thing is just developing that relationship with the families. I get to see an athlete maybe 2 to 4 times a week over multiple months, so I mean, I see them more than my own friends, my own family sometimes, and so you just learn so much about their community, their family, and they've really become part of our extended community over these past 5 years, and so it's really rewarding, and I think sports allows us to be such a, like, crucial part of their rehab journey because they have a bigger goal in mind that I just want to help them achieve. And I think it's just really exciting to cheer them along in the process.
What specifically about being in sports and doing sports PT was really like the set in stone, like, oh yeah, this is what I'm going to do?
Um,
Had to be
I
that time with Jerry.
Yeah, no, that was a great. Yeah, we can kind of tap into that too. I think what was cool was that at I went to Maryland for undergrad, and I was a student athletic trainer for like pretty much every semester throughout the 4 years. I was with a different team, and then primarily with men's soccer and then men's lacrosse. I was with women's lacrosse at Maryland and wrestling, and so I got a picture of like how each team was treated by the athletic trainer, different injuries, different backgrounds, honestly, just different like racial and like social backgrounds, like cultural backgrounds, like just like everyone coming into Maryland as just like a huge public university. So that was really cool. I think that broadened my perspective of just I can be a generalist in sports rehab, but also just kind of have a developing more of a niche as well.
Absolutely. I love that. Yeah. I felt like I always knew that I wanted to be in sports somehow. And I think it's kind of funny that I don't like my title is obviously not, we don't do PT, but I do a
Great.
lot of rehab for people with spinal cord injuries and strokes. So I thought that
Oh
that was
wow.
you mentioned that.
Yeah,
But and then I'm also a personal trainer in the same within the same company. So I'm in the sports side and then I'm also in that side, which has been really rewarding so far.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
It's never too late to go back to PT school.
It's too late.
We
um,
decided.
that's
We
fair.
checked that box.
Getting into like women's in sports, I guess for both of you, how have you guys seen the role in women in sports evolve over the past few years? Obviously, I know there's a lot of stereotypes and stuff, but from y'all's end, how has that changed? Even from Shannon when you were in college to Kylan athlete to personal trainer, performance coach.
Um, for me, I think I've seen it become way bigger of a thing for people, which I think is really cool. Like you can, I think this last maybe 2 years ago or this last year on ESPN is like we had the most people watching women's gymnastics and stuff like that, which has been really cool. But it's like getting more respected. I feel like in the past it's kind of been like just like kind of brushed to the side and it's like, oh yeah, like women can play soccer, but it's a men's thing or something like that, right? So I think it was really interesting to be able to see how people are really like diving into women's sports. Even like in Kansas City, they have the only women's all female soccer teams like facility just built specifically for the female. So I
Oh,
think that's really cool because before they were just sharing facilities with men's teams and whatever, and this one's built specifically for just a women's team, which I feel like it's just people are really diving deeper into supporting women's sports, and it's been really cool to see how people choose to support it.
100%.
Yeah, I think kind of going off of that, I feel like I don't know if it's just I'm more and more interested in women's sports as well, but like I just feel like on TV there's always options for men and women more frequently, like women's basketball, like super interested in that, women's soccer. I just feel like there's more buzz about it. I think there's more social media content kind of pushed out and promoting like just I feel like females in general. I think like we're promoting each other. I feel like women are kind of building each other up and supporting that. I also think there's like still a long way to go in terms of probably pay structure. Honestly, like um, professional women strength coaches and athletic trainers and physical therapy and the sports medicine staff. Like I think in those kind of like higher level leagues, like the NFL and stuff like that, I think that they're probably underrepresented compared to males. But I definitely think that the women I looked up to in those roles are just incredibly educated, and I think are just paving a path for the rest of us. So I think I've just seen more people like just in conversations within my own circle. I think it's just cool to talk about, and I think that women are also promoting each other as well. And I think like even like husbands and fathers and like are just so proud as well, like just like very big support systems. Like I think it's cool seeing males going out and supporting female sports too.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I see that a lot. Like even like you said, you're a Pilates instructor, but like in Pilates studios here, they have like Meathead Mondays, where it's just like a bunch of men doing Pilates, which I think is really fun because it's a very women-dominated like workout field. But yeah, I mean, I think
We should accept them into the spin classes.
yeah,
Maybe we'll see.
exactly. But no, I think like
Oh, that's
especially I've
funny.
noticed in college, and I had a female athletic trainer for 2 years, and then the last 2 years of my college, I had a a male athletic trainer, and I don't think I really like. I'm a very open book. I have no problem sharing with anyone or anything. So for me, it wasn't that big of a deal. But I know there was a lot of people who just feel way more comfortable, especially in like a women's sport, to have a women like a female athletic
Mhm.
trainer or a PT or doctor or anything in general, just because it adds that extra layer of like, oh, you really know what I'm talking about or like what I'm feeling.
Mhm. I do find that when people come into my practice, I feel like my team is very diverse, and I'm super happy and proud about that, male and female, and just different backgrounds as well. But I do think it's good to have like even when I'm hiring, making sure that there is good representation, so that like we can expand our community of people to feel welcome. Even just I feel like I do find. I think younger female athletes tend to want a female therapist, and I think that's incredibly valid. Whatever makes them feel most comfortable and they can feel open with, provide that open rapport and relationship with. I do think. Male physical therapists, even, my two colleagues that I work with are absolutely excellent and provide a different dynamic that I don't think initially maybe young athletes and kind of moms might be timid with. But I think just creating the community and the space for female athletes to meet the whole team is important to me too. It's not just like one on one. It's like when you meet me, you're meeting my whole team, and that's like my family.
Right. What do you think is one thing like providers need to be more cautious or just kind of like understand more for women for like when female athletes come in or just females in general?
Yeah, I think, I mean, I really think it's just like listening. I feel like I feel like it's developing conversation where girls can kind of laugh at themselves and kind of like joke around a little bit. They can feel comfortable lifting weights. They can feel comfortable talking about their own weight, their body image, without, I know it's a little weird maybe for a male to bring that up, sometimes specifics, but I think it's just creating an environment that's super safe and super open for them. I mean, I'm just kind of thinking back to myself growing up that, kind of like as you get to know someone one on one, and our model is that we are one on one to that 45 minutes to an hour, there's like, what else are you going to talk about, So
Yeah.
I think it's not being on my computer and not being distracted or talking to like 10 other people in the room, and just giving them the time and the space that, if they'd like to share something that they can. So I think specifically with female athletes, I do think we should talk about nutrition more. We should talk about, what their weight is, and if that's, how do they feel about their weight, right? Like at the moment,
Mhm.
it's not like supporting their lifestyle, supporting their goal for their athletic endeavors. We can talk about their periods. Have they missed periods? When did their periods start? And just even just like encouraging them to maybe track their periods and to see, how long the cycle is, or maybe learn more about it, learn more about their body.
Yeah.
It's really, it's science. It's the body.
Yeah.
I mean, even tracking my own period in the past couple of years, obviously starting a family, it's just honestly just interesting. So I think just
Yeah.
opening it up to just kind of introduce these different topics to female athletes is just cool to provide that open space.
Yeah, I think definitely
Do
too
you
with
feel like
understanding the female athlete triad is like I never knew what that was until I was experiencing it, and then I was just like, oh. So like even talking about that and being aware and understanding what can happen. But go ahead, man. Sorry.
well, do you guys think that that's like a big part of where female athletes are misunderstood or underserved? Like I know obviously the ACL tear rates during that time frame is off the charts.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was just gonna say I think it's like what Shannon was talking about. It's a very hard conversation to bring up, no matter if you are a woman or not. Like it's a hard conversation to bring up with a young female athlete because you don't want them to have these negative connotations towards it. So I think it's just like you don't want to be walking on eggshells, but it's like some stuff that you kind of need to know, and it's something that female athletes should be more comfortable with. Feel like they can be more comfortable and speak to the provider.
I think we're underserving the female population by just not asking the right questions. Like sometimes it's like you are such a great sports PT and you're like, okay, I'm training them, I'm getting them stronger. But like really what I feel like our model and our business has done great at is that we are asking those questions about like what they're eating before they come to us, what they're eating after. And it's not even saying, hey, we need to gain weight or lose weight. It's not even talking about it in that way. It's just like, hey, asking those questions, this is more like a workout session, even though it's rehab. Like, what did you eat before you came in here? Afterwards, and just getting the conversation going. Like it's those type of questions that give you a better picture into their daily life instead of just being like the best sports rehab programming that you can do. I feel like that's only one piece of the puzzle in my opinion. Obviously a big part of it. That's obviously what I'm good at, but I think the other parts add into, I think, understanding the female in its entirety.
Absolutely, I agree.
Yeah, and I mean you can apply that to anybody too. I think I tell the story all the
100%.
time. One of my most prominent athletes, I won't say his name, but I talked to him for an hour not knowing who he was. And now fast forward a couple years later, I'm with him still. So I feel like treating people like the right, building trust and the right population, the right questions is probably
Right.
underserved more in females, I'd imagine, right?
Yeah,
Right. I
absolutely.
think at the youth level, I think there's still a struggle there because I think that younger male athletes are encouraged to lift younger, even seventh graders, eighth graders. I don't think women are given the same opportunities at that level, and it's kind of more marketed toward the male group to obviously kind of males change kind of drastically in terms of height and stuff like that. Obviously females do too, but males it's a little bit more obvious, I guess. But I wish. I think we're in a space and we're in a strength and conditioning facility that really opens up their high school and youth development programs for both female and male athletes to join. It's not dominated one or the other. So I really like that and like being a part of that. But I think that's a missing component there where I think female athletes can learn to be confident in the gym at a very young age. And it doesn't have to be, kind of the meatheadish type of like all these weights. It's really just learning how to move your body, learning how to hip hinge, learning how to REL and lunge, and just honestly just like looking and feeling more athletic and confident in their bodies as I think females start to then kind of shy away from their bodies sometimes. And we want to just build confidence and with males and females too, just building confidence in those youth athletes.
Absolutely, absolutely, I agree.
Yeah, I love that. I guess how do you balance pushing those athletes while still trying to make them like get into that ability to like figure that out from those ages, whether it's teach them how to move their body, whether it's having the conversation, showing the empathy, like how do you guys do that? I guess both of you.
So recently I've been working with a lot of high school girls at an all female athlete school, and it was really interesting because I think for me it was more of a I was always like pushed to do things, and gymnastics is a very
Mm-hmm.
intense sport, I guess you could say, right? But I started lifting when I was like 14, so like coming out of eighth grade, going into a college type,
Mm-hmm.
or not college, sorry, high school. Um, and it was like for me, I felt like I guess I don't really remember, but I feel like I like could catch on quickly. And for some of these girls, it's really hard for them to learn how to do like an RDL or a hip hinge. They just
Mm-hmm.
really don't understand it. And so I think for me, like trying not to discourage them while like also trying to explain to them like how to do it correctly without discouraging them based like by saying like, hey, no, you're doing this wrong, but also like getting them more motivated. I think I noticed when I first started working with them, they were like, we don't want to do this, and like blah blah blah. And then by the end of it, they were like, we're so happy to be here today. And so that was like a good like accomplishment for me, because I was like, you know what, like I was kind to them, I wasn't like too hard, obviously. I taught them well, and I didn't make them feel bad for them doing it wrong. I feel like that was something I had a lot when I was growing up, is like, if you're doing it wrong, you're doing it wrong, and there's no way of fixing it. So I think that changing that, like your tone, your delivery, like it all matters a lot, especially when you're working with younger female athletes. So that learning that for me was probably the biggest thing that I needed to learn to help motivate them.
Yeah. I think just to go off of that too, I think that sometimes when I was a younger clinician, I would maybe cue more like, okay, your knee in and your foot's flat and like, all these things that were just like not relevant. Like you're taking away, like it is still a safe movement. Is it absolutely perfect, pitch perfect, Instagram perfect when I take a video? No. But I like to showcase, like even on my own stories, like this might not be the perfect form, but that looks a lot better than the 3 reps prior. No one knows that because it's just 1 rep, but like I'm proud of that. I like to showcase that.
Yeah.
I like to promote, promote them just getting in that work. But like, I think it's educating them that it there's a time and a place for it. And I think when I was a younger clinician, I would cue too many things at one time that it would take away from them enjoying the exercise. And I more kind of cut back on just like maybe kind of more of like the overall strategy, or maybe just one cue at a time for them to kind of lock in there and feel confident and kind of do those building blocks.
Yeah.
I do think every athlete is a little bit different. And then the second thing I would say is that I do think objective testing, we've invested in a lot of equipment with Vald, one of our partners, and I think the numbers really matter. I think like once again, like educating and seeing the number of like your hip abduction or hip adduction strength, and hey, this might be why X, Y, maybe whatever, if there's a significant groin kind of maybe asymmetry there, but like they're really interested in it. Like they can take in all this information, and then to show them, hey, I'm going to implement this in our programming, and we're going to retest in 4 weeks, 6 weeks, or whatever, and for them to see those numbers improve, or whatever that is. I just feel like that adds in so much more buy-in, as we kind of hit home that building the relationship in between. But I kind of like to let the numbers speak for themselves, because I think that's, if we can just continue to educate the female and male athletes, then they will be better themselves, I believe, too, and just know more about their bodies.
So
Absolutely.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Now, I guess switching gears a little bit to like burnout and pressure. I feel like, so obviously stereotypical females are better at being empathetic there than men. Does that help in situations of trying to help athletes talk about mental and emotional stresses or things that are a challenge for you guys as a whole? Do you feel like? I'd like to think I'm empathetic, but we'll see.
I think male and female providers can be incredibly empathetic. I think it just really depends on kind of like your personality and how you kind of like fit into your community, I would say. I feel like even, I was kind of like overwhelmed when like when I was a young kind of professional of like, okay, like what am this like small white girl going to teach this like big basketball or football player? Like why would they even care to come into me? But I think just I kind of took a step back and was just like, hey, like I'm just really excited to work with them and just learn about the sport through their eyes and ask questions. And so I think like being empathetic is just like actually like just asking, like not pretending I know how to be a running back in the
Yeah.
NFL. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just like talk to me through some position, some skills, some positional kind of the kinetics and kinematics of the sports type of thing, kind of like nailing away that for me to break it down. And obviously, doing my research and coming to them as well. But I think it's just really, I think the empathy just comes from like learning about their goals. And I think both male and female PTs and clinicians like really dive into that, which I'm like proud of in our profession, and same with personal trainers as well.
Yeah, I think so as well. I think, like, even for me, I've had to learn about UFC fighting because I train UFC fighters, and I just like
Yeah.
I'm watching a fight, and I'm like, they're just punching each other for a living, but you know what? There's technique to it. There's things I need to know, and all that kind of stuff. So yeah.
Yeah.
It's science.
Oh yeah.
Oh man, that's funny. So getting into like leadership for you, Shannon.
Hmm.
Obviously, you've owned your practice. You've helped mentor me over the years. It's been cool to watch you grow. Um, from that standpoint, what has owning a company really taught you just about yourself and in general?
Yeah, honestly, like I remember when I opened the business like the first year, like I literally like lost hair follicles on my head and I was so stressed and I'm like I don't know. I feel like there was just so many hats you wear at one time, and you know, it's really overwhelming. But I don't. I think I also just had to learn a lot about myself. Where I leaned on my mentors. You know, Hillary, who I worked my first job with, and Matt, you worked with her at your job. Like, you know, I think like prioritizing what is important that day. Do I need to order business cards right away? No, that is not the most important thing to do, right? Like, I don't need to order T-shirts or like design the website better or like you know what I'm saying like all the type A things that I want to just like make this logo perfect and move it around 15 times like there's just like it was really hard to not sit on the couch and like watch TV with my husband and be like I could be doing 10 other things. So I really had to like kind of like mind shift because I had to let go a little bit that I wasn't able to perfect maybe everything at one time, but everything had a place at some point.
Yeah.
And I really think that my team has helped me grow tremendously. I feel like each of you know my colleagues have like each of my colleagues are different and they like leadership in different ways. And each year I ask for feedback, like I you know like a yearly review of just like a manager feedback, and then they do a performance review of themselves too. But I take that kind of manager feedback of the different kind of like paragraphs I've asked them to write about me in different sections, and I kind of reflect on that, and then in a team meeting kind of tell them like what my goals are leadership wise with the team. And I really try to like put that to heart too. There was one thing, and I'll just kind of like share something simple, but you know, my two colleagues, you know, told me like, hey, like we came here to work for you, and when you're, you know, between patients, like you know, I'm locked in with my patient, and then I have like a 15-minute break between every patient, but like those 15 minutes, I'd be doing emails, I'd be cranking stuff out because as an owner, I can get so much done in 15 minutes. But I
Yeah.
was realizing that I wasn't then kind of just like shooting the shit a little bit or just like kind of
Yeah.
being there for the team. And I think that was just eye opening where I thought I was just doing really good multitasking, but it was also like the morale that sometimes when I would be stressed and locked in, I wasn't building up just like the energy sometimes. And it was like, Shannon, like, you are treating as many patients as we are. You have to put a business break on your schedule. You don't have to do this at home. We know that you can treat as many people as we can. And like I think I just needed someone to say that out loud because I didn't want to ask them to treat more people than me because I just felt like I can be in this with you, but it's like I have to own the business and do all the other hats, and they were like you have to do that. So I think the
Yeah.
respect there was just like really valuable, and that was just one example of just they provided me the opportunity to just take a step back and breathe a little bit and be able to enjoy it.
Yeah. And that's, I
Love that.
mean, having like even your younger female athletes that you have like look up to
Yeah.
you and owning your own business. And I remember I went to a EDS specific PT when I was young, and she owns her own business and she's, you know, doing amazing. And I was just like, you know, I want to do that. Now my views have changed a little bit now, but when I was younger, I was like, I really want to do that. I want to own my own practice. And at some point I want to have my own business of some sort. It's just, um, it's cool to have somebody to look up to, like all my female PTs and when I was growing up and all that stuff. So I mean, still keep in touch with them to this day too. So
That's
it's
cool.
nice to have females in healthcare being leaders. So
Yeah. And I also like to say this too. It's like some people are like, well, what business classes did you take or whatever? Like, I mean, I probably took like business 101 and like was like, oh, cool, this is great.
yeah,
And then business school, but
no
like,
business classes.
yeah, no
So
business
business.
classes. And
Shannon loves class.
I remember like one of my athletes being like, hey, like, you're like, I feel like you just like, are like kind of running things like here and like you're doing like do you want to open your own practice? And I was like, not really. Like I like it here and kind of seems pretty stressful. Definitely, right? But but here
Yes.
I am because I think I just like, you know, opportunities present themselves and you just say yes. But I say that just because like one day I was like, I'm just gonna do this for a year, and if I screw it up, I'm gonna get another PT job. Like I have a good resume. I'm confident with that. I've done a good job, but like I'm just gonna like take a risk and
Yeah.
just see. Like thank God I had it like kind of a stable income and I could do that. But I remember even like my husband was my boyfriend at the time, and I was like, "Can I go on your healthcare?" Like, and he was like, "I don't know. I guess you're like my partner or something." I don't like it was like kind of crazy
Yeah.
convos, but it was great because you like don't have to have your shit together
Yeah.
to like obviously it's better if you're more prepared, but you also will figure it out and have mentors and have colleagues like me and Matt to just be like just confide in people. And like that has been like the most rewarding experience.
Remember, I
Absolutely.
opened up 6 weeks before Addie.
That's like crazy.
That was ridiculous.
Yeah.
Um, what advice would you guys give, I guess, young females trying to enter the sports realm, whether it's professional, whether it's sports or whatever? Obviously, there's a lot of eyes on it, like you guys said, and it's changed. But what would you guys give as like one thing that you'd say, hey, this is what I love, or I'd advise you on in general?
I think for me, it's like come in with a chip on your shoulder, like come in with confidence, go into it knowing that you have all the capabilities and
Yeah.
abilities, and if you need the resources, that somebody will help you find them, and that like just go into it with the confidence instead of going into it like being scared. Like I have high school girls coming into my gym, and we've got high school kids working out at the same time. From it's like an all girls school, and then there are boys working out on the football team, and they're like seniors, and the girls are in there, and they're like so scared, and I'm like, girls, just go get a weight. Like, let's go, lift the weight. Let's do the squat. Like, who cares what they're doing? Like, they're not gonna get in your way. Just like do it. Like,
Yeah.
let's go. And they're like so scared. And so, I think coming in with just confidence, the chip on your shoulder, wanting to be better, and all that stuff, I think is the biggest for women right now.
I think being like
So,
super authentic too. Like I love when like one of my students like just DMs me on Instagram with just something like not ChatGPT written, honestly, just like, hey, like I've been like whatever it is, like just like been following you and I just like have a couple questions and it's just like really like organic and it like it means that they truly like care about not saying myself, but just they care to grow themselves by like asking questions to me. And so I just like the authentic like it's just authentic, I think. And
Hmm.
I think use social media to your advantage. Like DM some of the, even if no one responds, that's fine. But like people you look up to, you can message them. I think messaging people on LinkedIn, however that is, sending an email, a handwritten card, whatever that is, like those things go a long way that isn't so staged and like just like mass email to people.
Yeah.
So I'm always whoever like reaches out to me like is just like really wanting to learn. I'm always inviting them in to shadow. Um, but you can tell when people are just kind of like trying to do it to check a box.
Yeah. Yeah. I
yeah,
mean, like with my PT from growing up, she just wrote me a recommendation letter for UF, and now I go to UF. So it's like have
Right.
that conversation,
Right.
be relationships with those people that you look up to, and like use it to your advantage for sure.
Mhm.
you don't take the shot, you can't make it.
Exactly.
What do you guys hope changes in the next 5 to 10 years for women in sports, leadership in general, but all around?
I just hope that it just continues to get more respected, just every year.
Yeah, I think I just love seeing like when stadiums are sold out for women's sports and like just continuing to like
It's just
just
a
like
mess.
create. Yeah, like it's like I feel like just create like just fun around going and watching games. It doesn't matter male or female, just like getting out and like supporting our community and like I don't know, like just like creating like a fun atmosphere and fun environment around like kind of just all sports in general. I think it just like brings so many different types of people together, which I think is just like not to be cheesy, but just like good for the US.
Yeah.
Like sports bring like just everyone together. So I think like the more that we can just like support and buy tickets for like male and female sports, I think it's just a fun time all around.
I will say you
Absolutely.
will have not lived, Shannon, until you've gone to constant gymnastics, Nate.
That's definitely true.
That's
Well, I'm not there anymore, so it'd be really boring.
that's fair.
Okay, well we can't do that.
I'm just kidding.
I guess when you're telling athletes, like what would you say to look for in a provider or a sports performance coach? What's the one thing you would say?
Yeah, I mean, I would say like when you're searching for provide, well, one like ask like people like honestly, I think recommendations go a long way. Like if you one of maybe your team or your coach has a connections, I think that always kind of bridges the gap first. I also think talking, I talk to every athlete on the phone before they come in. It's not a front desk person, so
That's
it kind of
awesome.
establishes like the connection there already. So I think just like you can see some of like the effort behind the scenes that like I'm not getting paid for that phone call or whatever. Like those connections are powerful. So I think just like uh, one using your network and asking questions instead of obviously like I love people that find us on Google too, but I think people like trust in the people around you, your coaches and like their and the staff and stuff of their relationships, and then I think from there honestly like if you are not like kind of bonding or creating a relationship with your physical therapist, then go find a new one. Like there are so many, and that's okay. Like if like I mean I haven't had this happen often, but like if we are not like vibing, then like I'd rather have them succeed somewhere else and like find the right fit. And truly, like I would not like I'm not upset at that. So
Yeah.
I think, and I've had people like even with our team just be like, hey, I really want to like a female therapist. Is that okay? And like even my colleagues are like, yes, we'd rather you be here and just feel comfortable in whatever setting you want to be in. So I think that's the main thing is just like if you aren't happy, like switch up your doctors. Like you don't have to be going to the same one you went to because your mom brought you to the same
Mhm.
one. you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, I agree.
True. So true.
Like just advocate for yourself. I think just like in any profession, just ask questions. Anybody, like, all they have to do is say no, but I think advocate for yourself. And I think even just as parents too, and even being a young parent, it's like a young kid right now, like I always look the kid in the eye. I had like a fourth grader in, and she was like, you're the first person that's even like asked me any questions. It's normally just my mom. So I think just at any age, if someone's coming in, for them to like learn that healthcare isn't so scary and it's not like there's such a passive part of it. It's like, I'm asking the young girl, fourth grader sitting in front of me, like, tell me about your day. Tell me how you feel. And we're like, the mom is learning as we are probing questions, because we know with our subjective questions, we're going to get kind of through it. So I think just giving them a chance to speak for themselves at any age.
Yeah, I think so too. What do you think is like the most like successful, or like what makes your relationship with your athletes as a provider as successful as it has been for you?
Um, I feel like I'm really good at following up. I feel like if a coach reaches out, or even like if Matt's like, hey, I've got somebody coming into your town or whatever, I always just make a note to just kind of be like, thank you for referring that person, or even just like, hey, like, is that person still coming up? Can we, touch base, or kind of group text or something like that. So I feel like the
Yeah.
business grows just because like I'd like to not like tie up loose ends, but it kind of is. It's kind of like you don't let things slip through the cracks. I don't know if that's good sales type of situation, but it's also like I just like people, if like they've said like, I really want to come into you, I really want to set something up, then I don't like, if we're out on the weekends or something, I'm not gonna like dive into a conversation, but maybe I'll shoot them a text and be like, how are you feeling? Just because like if they I think it's more of just like kind of making sure that conversation was heard and like fully listened to. And then it's up to them if they choose to want to come in. But I think that would be kind of the main thing I think I'm particularly good at, um, full circle there, that helps drive business.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
love
and I'll
that.
brag on
Offensively.
and I'll brag on Shannon. She's probably one of the more reliable people I know, and she definitely gives a shit more than most people.
Yeah.
That's nice, Matt. Same with you.
Well, I've loved this. Yeah, I mean, for the sake of my daughter and just like young females out there, I would love to continue to see just women's sports continue to
Yeah.
skyrocket and blow up. And it's been cool, and it's also kind of awesome to see having both of you guys at the forefront of it.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, thank you both for joining us for today's episode. Shannon, we were so glad to have you. I know it was super hard to fit this into your schedule, but we really appreciate it. So
No,
thank
this is great. This is a great
you.
time. I'm glad my daughter did not wake up.
There you go.
Very good. But yeah, no, I love like that you guys are doing this and kind of hitting different people. I think it's a cool perspective to have like both of you guys on the podcast too. So I feel like just keep doing it, keep sharing it and stuff. So I'm honored to be on it. So thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Appreciate it.
All right, bye everybody.